Hello everyone. Welcome to the today's session on SQLite database in Android. So in this session, we will explore how to use SQLite, one of the most powerful and convenient way to store the data directly on the user device. So by the end of the session, you will know how to create an SQLite database, how to insert the data and retrieve it right inside your Android applications. So let's start learning how to work with SQLite databases. Okay. So first we should know about what is SQLite databases. SQLite is another data storage option which is available in the Android, and it allows us to store the data locally on the user device. Unlike the cloud databases or online server, the SQLite works completely offline. The data is stored as a text file inside the application's private storage area, so meaning it fast, secure and always accessible to your applications. So, what exactly is an SQL database? SQL is an open source relational database engine built right into the Android. It helps us perform the operations like adding, updating, reading and deleting the records. So, all within the user device. In simple terms, you can think of a SQLite as a mini database system, so that lives inside your applications and works even when there is no internet connection. Now, let us understand how the data is stored. In SQLite, the data is stored in the table, rows and columns just like an Excel sheet. So, for example, if we have building the course management applications, our table may include the columns such as course name, course descriptions, durations and a track. Each row in the table will represent one course entry. When working with the SQLite in Android, we will frequently use the few important methods, especially when dealing with the cursor object, which helps us move through the rows of the data. Let's quickly go through some of them. Okay. So, the first method is get column names. So, this will return an array of all the column names in the table. Second, get count method. So, this method gives us the number of rows in the cursor. Then third is closed. So, this will check if the cursor is closed or not. Then we have a get column count. So, this method returns the total number of the columns. Next we have a get column name. So, this method gives a column name for the specific index. So, next we have a get column index. So, this method returns the index of the column by its name. So, next we have a get position. So, this method returns the current position of the cursor. So, next we will build the simple Android applications that allow us to store and view the course informations using SQLite database. Okay. So, first we will create the database that includes the fields for the course name, course description, then course durations, next course track. Okay. So, we will be adding these records to the SQL database and later we are going to retrieving them. So, now that we have understood what SQLite is and how it is working, let us move on to the hands-on part, the step-by-step implementation. Okay. So, we will build our Android application from the scratch using the Kotlin code and connect it with the SQLite database to store our course details locally. Okay. So, the first step is about create the new project. The first step is to create the brand new Android project. So, for that, first we have to open the Android Studio and from the welcome screen, click on the new project. Then we have to choose the empty activity as a template, then click the next button. So, now give your project name. For example, SQLite course applications. Okay. Then afterwards, you have to select the Kotlin as a programming language. So, because we are going to implementing our applications in a Kotlin language. Okay. Then finally, you have to click the finish button. Afterwards, the Android Studio will now create the basic project structures for us. Okay. So, once the project has finished the building, so we are ready to move to the next step. So, what is the second step? So, here we have to give a permissions to access storage. Okay. So, in this step, we will add the permission to access the external storage in case our database or related files need it later. Okay. To do that, navigate our applications manifest. Okay. So, now we are going to work on the Android manifest.xml file. Okay. So, inside this manifest tag, so we have to add the following line for getting the permission. Okay. So, this is the line is users permissions, Android name is equal to Android permission. Okay. So, in this way we are giving the permissions for external storage. So, this permissions allows the applications to read the file from the device external storage, which can be useful when working with the local databases or exporting the backup. So, that all we need for the permission. So, let us move to the designing layout. So, that is a step 3. So, here, so we are going to work with the activity main.xml file. Okay. So, in this step, we will design the main screen of our application. So, the interface where the user can enter the course details and save them into the SQLite database. Okay. So, next, so we have to navigate to our project's layout folder. Okay. That folder structure is about applications, afterwards rest folder, then layout. Okay. So, next one is activity main.xml. Okay. So, here you can either switch to the code view or you can use the design view in the Android Studio. Okay. So, now, so we have to add the user interface components. Okay. So, here we will include some edit text fields for the course name, descriptions, durations and track. Okay. So, we will also add the 2 more buttons. One button for insert the data into the database and another button is for read the data from it. Okay. So, here so you can customize the layout as you prefer. Okay. Just make sure the ID match what we will use in our Kotlin code later. Okay. So, once our layout looks ready, we can move on to the writing database logic. Okay. So, that is step 4. Step 4 is about creating the new Kotlin class for SQLite operations. Okay. So, next we will create the new Kotlin class that handles all our database operations. So, it is like creating the table, inserting the data and fetching the records. Okay. To do that, so navigate to the structure like applications, Java, then your application package name. Suppose if you are using the Kotlin, then you have to select the Kotlin. Okay. Then right click on the package, select new, then Kotlin class file and name it as a DB handler. Okay. So, in this class, we will extend the SQLite open helper class, which gives us 2 key methods. So, first method is on create and the second method is on upgrade. Okay. So, these 2 methods are mainly used for managing our database. Okay. So, in this part, let us understand our DB handler class, which handles all the SQLite databases operations in our applications. Okay. So, first our class extends the SQLite open helper, which help us to create and manage the database. So, inside the companion object, we define the constant like the database name, version, table name and column names. Okay. So, next we will move to the method. So, first method is on create method. So, in the on create method, we write the SQL query to create our table named my courses with the columns for ID, name, durations, descriptions and track. Okay. So, next the add new course function. Okay. So, let us insert the new course into the database. Okay. So, we use content values to store each detail, then call the insert method to save it. Okay. So, finally, on upgrade method is used when we update our database version. It drops the old table, recreates the new one. Okay. So, in short, the DB handler class is the backbone of our applications. It creates a database, adds the new records and manages the updates efficiently. Okay. So, next we will move to the step 5. So, this is about working with the main activity Kotlin file. So, for that first you have to go to the main activity .kt file and refer to the code. Okay. So, let us quickly go through the main activity file. So, this is where we connect our application user interface with the SQLite database. Okay. So, first we have to declare our edit text fields and the add button and our database handler also. So, in the on create method, we initialize these views using the find view build and set up our database handler to handle the database operations. Okay. So, next we set the click listener and the add course button. So, when the user clicks it, the applications collect all the text input like a course name, a track, durations and descriptions. Okay. So, if any one of the field is empty, we show the toast asking the user to fill in all the details. Okay. So, otherwise we call the add new codes from our database handler to save the data in the SQLite database. Okay. After saving, a toast message confirms success and we clear the input fields. Okay. So, this example activity handles the user input, validates the input and stores the data in our local database. Okay. So, this will completing the front end connections with the SQLite database. Okay. So, alright, now that we have completed our code, so let us run the applications and see it in the action. Okay. So, when the applications launches, it will first ask the details like a course name, course durations, course track, course descriptions. Okay. So, let us enter our sample data. So, the course name is Java and duration is 30 days and track is 20 track. Then description is Java self-paced course. Okay. So, once we tap on the add course button, our enter data is successfully added into our SQLite database. Okay. So, you will also see the confirmation message saying course has been added. Okay. So, and that is it. So, we have successfully created an Android applications that stores the data locally using the SQLite database. Okay.